CNF Worldwide, for nomads everywhere.
And we're live here in
right.
Scituate, Massachusetts, CNF Worldwide here at Untold Brewing. And we're here with Kyle,
Hello.
Hansen, Matt Elder,
Yep.
and the third owner, Kristin Greene, couldn't be with us today.
Right.
But right on cue, we start getting noise in the background, which is not a problem until my sound guy says,
Yeah. That's his job.
Right. Hey, thanks for hosting us here today at Untold Brewing, guys.
Glad to have you.
As we were discussing before we started here, is we're traveling all over the country, meeting craft brewers, especially you guys that have started up in recent years. And if my research is correct, you guys just opened in October of 2017.
That's right.
So
Nailed
you've
it.
only been open like 14, 15 months.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how's it going so far?
Going great. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, no complaints from us. The demand has been growing every month we've been open. We're actually at capacity. We're adding some new tanks coming up. So people keep drinking it. We keep making it. That's the arrangement we've got right now. So we're fine with that.
So we step back a little bit and tell us the story of Untold Brewing, starting with the name, Untold Brewing. Where'd you guys get that?
That's a good question. We get that a lot. So before this idea kind of came to fruition, I was working a totally different career, working in healthcare and home brewing on the side. I was living in Seattle at the time, where my wife grew up. After we got married, we moved out there. So I was working my desk job, brewing constantly. All I was thinking about was brewing, and kind of got to a point where I was like, why is this only a hobby? You know, I love it so much, I should make it a career. And there's a quote from Maya Angelou that goes, "There's no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you." And I saw that and I was like, that's my situation, that's my story. So brewing was my untold story, and that's kind of, the inspiration for all this.
That is very cool.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I had a question, I just lost it. So you're Reagan, I'll edit this out.
Well, the name resonated too with me in a similar but different way, where I feel like when you were walking by people on the street, they're just another person sitting there, and you know nothing about them, and yet they have this entire story of their entire life that you have nothing, and you sit down and you start having a pint with somebody, drinking a beer, start talking to them, and you get to see this whole, untold story. And so it's almost like when Matt told me that this is the way that, here's my idea, here's the name, I was like, oh my gosh, like this. And he was like, well, no, like this. And I was like, oh, yeah, like, okay. And so it's like, it resonates different ways.
Yeah, I think it resonates with everyone. I mean, people have passion for history or violin, or,
So I'm kind of going to go out of order of my questions, because you guys are, because the place we were just at in Columbus, Ohio last week, their whole logo is like beer, stories, people. And they're coming from the same place that you guys are.
Yeah.
There's a certain ethos that we're finding that permeates this industry. We're finding a lot of highly intelligent, highly capable people are starting craft breweries.
Yeah.
And they're also very community-minded, they're very civic-minded, they're very into the other businesses around them and how they're doing and doing collaborations, like we were talking with Red Eye Coffee Roasters that you guys are going to be doing. Yep. So that's where you got the name for it. But what was the spark? Once you said, you know what, I really want to do this for a living. And what we've heard from a lot of people is, I got that spark and I started home brewing more and more and more. And the next thing I know, my wife said, you either got to start a brewery or clean out the garage because there's too much of this stuff. So once you said, and you made that personal decision that this is what I want to do, what was the next step?
I mean, for me, once I looked at what I was doing, I said, if I'm still doing this 10 years from now, I'm going to regret it. I said, I got to go for it. I started volunteering at festivals, pouring beer, just trying to get my foot in the door, talking to people. And like you said, this community of craft beer is so welcoming that I really didn't have a problem meeting people. I mean, everyone was willing to talk beer. And we joke around, we like to do two things, drink beer and talk about beer. So it was a great experience. And then by, total luck, I call it luck, but there's probably some hard work in there too. Got a job at Georgetown Brewing Company, where I met Kyle, and he and I were brewers there, and got to know each other really well.
So segue into Kyle, then how did you get started at Georgetown Brewing?
Yeah, I used to bartend and jumped kind of into home brewing. I kind of just dipped my toe into home brewing. I'm a very analytically minded person. And home brewing, the more I did it, the more I realized needed to buy more equipment to realize this number, and I needed to buy another piece of equipment to figure out this, and I was like, I can't afford this hobby. And so I either need to, go do it with somebody who already has the equipment, and I get to be scientific and analytical with it, i.e. get a job doing it, or I need to quit thinking like that and just homebrew. And so I decided I'd go get a job, and lucky, just like Matt said, I feel like, started hanging out with the guys at Georgetown and made a friend there, and just started going to their events and stuff, and they were like, you should work here. And so I was like, I should. You're right.
So then you two guys work there,
Yep.
and you're both starting to think maybe, we really love doing this. What's the story? Let's come back to the Untold. Tell the story of how you two said, yeah, we're going to do this.
Yeah. It was kind of just, serendipitous. So I grew up in Scituate, and always wanted to come back home and open a brewery here. So the shifts at Georgetown, there was a 5 a.m. to 3 p.m. shift. So I would work that shift, and then before I pick up my kids, I had one young one at that time. Before I pick up my daughter from daycare, would spend 2 hours working on a business plan to eventually do this. And one day, Kyle, I'll let you tell this one part.
Showed up. We were just talking. I had plans to kind of, I'd seen what I'd seen in Seattle. I'd been living there for 5-6 years, and decided I was ready to see a different part of the country. So I'd lived in Colorado, loved Colorado, lived in Seattle, loved Seattle. But I didn't have anything like really holding me other than a kick-ass job at Georgetown. And so I was like, you know what? Now is the time that I should up and check out the East Coast, a place I could see myself living. Matt being from the East Coast, I naturally went talking to him. Was asking him about, hey, I think about moving to Vermont. Where should I go? Said, yeah.
Well, it's close to Vermont. So I kind of told him about what I've been working on with Untold.
Yeah, sworn to secrecy. But,
yeah. But
yeah.
Made you sign the NDA?
Yeah, exactly.
On the spot.
We took a blood pact, I think, at that point. And so then it was like, well, you know what? Like, I was kind of blind flying into Vermont, just going to pick up a job when I got there, and so it sounds like probably a smarter idea to.
So now the plan has started to go into place. So can you tell us a little bit about the business plan, how you went about getting funding, finding your location here?
Yeah, so it was a little challenging doing it remotely from Seattle. So my parents still live in Scituate, so I would actually send my dad out as scope out spots that I saw online, call up, the commercial real estate brokers, and just, again, luck plays into this whole story over and over again. Got hooked up with this one guy in Scituate who knew our current landlord, and he said, hey, I told him what I was thinking about, and he said, you should really talk to this one guy, our landlord. And so I did, and he owns this property and had ideas to develop it. And once we started talking about doing the brewery, he was very enthusiastic about that. So we started talking with him about actual build out for doing this. So worked with him, and I hear horror stories from other places about their landlord. We have the best relationship with our landlord. He's absolutely a partner.
Nice.
with us in all this. So he helped us build this whole place out, and I'm sure you saw the old schoolhouse in the front.
Very cool.
His ancestors actually went to school in that schoolhouse that was originally built in 1852. Yeah. So he had emotional investment into making that part of the brewery, part of our tap room. It's just been a very cool project to work with him hand in hand on.
That ties into your whole thing too, because that's part of his family's story.
Yeah.
And now he has found a way in where we're at in the world today to tie that story to the one of the biggest stories in the United States today, the stories of craft brewing.
Yeah.
It would pull it all together. Yeah. So everybody gets to tell their story.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So go ahead.
Incredibly lucky, like Matt said, that we got hooked up with him, and that he pretty much ended up being a general contractor for us, which made life unbelievably easy.
I know a lot of other brewers that want to talk to him.
Yes.
Yes. There's just such a unbelievable amount of trust between all of us.
Yeah.
So, when you're doing something like this, that's paramount to everything.
Okay, so you've got the place, you got a great landlord, you got the business plan. Dad's done all the legwork for you. You're running around.
Yeah.
Let's so now you're here. The doors are open. Tell us about the beers you guys are brewing. What were the first ones you brought to market? Which are your favorites? And why you guys are so excited about them?
Yeah, how much time you got?
Yeah, talking about beer.
We got we got about 15 minutes.
Yeah,
So
sweet. All right, we'll keep it short.
Yeah, we should probably talk about our flagship
Yeah.
first. East by Northwest.
okay.
It happened to be the first recipe we brewed here. We had an idea that we wanted to do a West Coast style IPA, but a little softer in bitterness. Kind of, all these East Coast IPAs have low bitterness, so we wanted to do sort of a hybrid, but still kind of make it more of a West Coast style beer. So, Kyle and I talk about all the recipes before we brew them, kind of come up with the malt bill that we want, the hops that we want to use, and how those are going to work together in the final beer. And with that one, we just kind of, again, luck. I don't know. We hit it out of the park on the first try. It's been great.
That never happens, man. That's awesome.
Never happens.
Yeah.
I mean, from day one, it's been the most popular beer. It probably makes up 40% of our volume right now.
So am I right in assuming that the name of the beer is kind of a nod to here and to Seattle where you guys met?
You got
Exactly.
So you guys are always telling the story.
Oh, yeah.
Even if people
Every
aren't
beer
aware
has
they're
a
being
story.
told the story, they're being told the
It's
story.
there. If you look, it's there.
Yeah. And that's one of our mottos. Every beer has a story. So, I mean, we brew beers, inspired by the stories of our lives, the stories of our customers' lives, the history of the town and the community where we live. I mean, there's literally a story behind every beer we brew.
So after East by Northwest, what was the next thing you guys put out on the streets?
We decided we also wanted a pale ale to be around just for the people who don't like IPAs, and we'll have something lighter. So we have Pale 143, which we'll just jump into the story of that one. There's a lighthouse off the shore called Mine It's Light. Blinks 143 for I Love You, and it's a very common theme that you'll find throughout Scituate. There's a yoga studio down the road called Studio 143. You'll find 143 all over this town.
Very cool.
And so that's that. We went a little hoppier on it, made it light and easy drinking. It's a great summertime beer. We see a big spike in sales for the summer on that beer, and it's just easy drinking. It's probably one of the beers I find myself drinking the most of around here. So,
And for that one, too, we used 1 yeast,
Oh,
4
yeah.
malts, and 3 hops, just to keep with the 1-4-3 theme. It's intentional.
Yep.
You guys, incredible attention to detail here.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Oh, and so with your beers and everything, what's kind of the plan for Untold Brewing? I mean, because there's kind of different themes that I've noticed in the breweries we've talked to. You got the guys that are trying to grow and get distribution and cast their net wider. But I'm running into a growing number of people who are like, it's here. We want to be a destination brewery. We want to be the brewery for our town. We want to be a gathering place for the community. And I find a few that are trying to do a little bit of both. What are you guys trying to do with Untold Brewing?
Yeah, I mean, we're very much focused on the South Shore of Massachusetts. When we opened up, it was 100% focused on the taproom and Scituate. And once we got that under control, we kind of moved out to the surrounding towns. And now we're as far south as Plymouth and as far north as Quincy. Still all 100% South Shore distribution. Right. It's all self-distribution. So we're really getting ready for this summer. We've been at capacity pretty much since last summer. We can't brew any more beer if we tried.
Yeah.
So we have 3 new tanks coming in.
So what is your capacity now, and what are you moving to?
We have 6 15-barrel fermenters and 2 15-barrel brights, and we're bringing in 2 more 30-barrel fermenters and a 30-barrel bright in another month or so.
Very nice.
So, yeah.
And as far as the distribution, Massachusetts not a 3-tiered state. You're not required to go through another distribution company?
We get allotted a certain amount of self-distribution before we have to, it caps off, but we're allowed to do quite a bit. Yeah, so we have a van and a guy that goes around and sells and distributes and delivers beer.
And based on your soon-to-be increased capacity, it sounds like the reception's been pretty good.
Yeah. It's been great.
Been working out. No complaints from us, that's for sure.
Yes.
So, any plans for growth beyond that, or you want to just stay focused in the southeastern, South Shore Mass area?
We're working on a couple things right now. I probably don't want to put the cart before the horse, but
don't tell me anything you're not ready to tell me.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking, and this has been something we talked about since day one. We want to grow smart. Mm-hmm. I mean, we could put another building the same size in next door right away and just crank out beer, but we'd probably riddle ourselves with debt and not be able to keep up. So we're trying to grow smart, just not as fast as we can. So that's kind of the goal right now. We're looking at getting some off-site storage to help get some of the dry storage out of here, make more space for tanks. I mean, we can make a lot more beer out of this space right now, so we're going to focus on that.
Very cool. Yeah. So now, pulling it back in just to Scituate now, you got your tap room here and the 160-some-year-old schoolhouse.
Yeah.
How's the community? You get a lot of traffic in here from the town. Community really comes in here, has a good time. Can you tell us a little bit about like some of the events and stuff you have here?
Yeah, we've been supported by this town. Not being from here, I was not sure what to expect, and it's incredible how, I've said this 100 times, how loyal people in Scituate are. They love Scituate. And so us being in Scituate, brewing in Scituate, everything that we do coming from Scituate is a huge draw for the people in the town. And so we get a lot of locals. We have bars that tell us that people will come in and they'll see our tap handle and they don't even ask what it is. They're just like, oh, the Untold. I'm like, well, don't care. In front of me now.
I heard a joke when, how do you know someone's from Scituate? It's the first thing they tell you. People here are incredibly proud of this area, and I feel like they're proud of us and what we're doing for the community. So we want to do right by them and continue to give back to this community as much as we can.
I will share this with you guys because I'm not just here to collect information. We're here to share it too. A week and a half ago, my son and I are in Wheeling, West Virginia. Super rainy day, same kind of thing. We had some other people cancel. We called them 2 days ahead of time and said, we're coming right through your town. We sit down and talk to us. So we went to a little place called Tacoholics, which has only been, like you guys, been open a year and a half.
Yeah.
This guy and his wife opened this little taco joint, Main Street in Wheeling.
Love
and we
that.
brought in the guy, the head brewer from Brew Keepers, really super nice dude. And this two artists who run a small online clothing company called Wheeling Threads.
Yeah.
People just like you, same story. People wheeling. So
Yeah.
there's a big beer fest in northern West Virginia every year. It's hosted in Wheeling, and the Wheeling guys have won the best in show every year. And the guys, the brewer's like, it's kind of, we're the hometown guys.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
They really, really love us. So there's this thing happening all over the country, it seems, especially like your generation, like the 30-something. It's like, we're really proud to be local.
Yeah.
And the people around us are proud. They're happy that we're doing something. And it's almost like you're their home team now. You know?
Yeah. That's what we see a ton of.
That's
exactly
awesome.
that.
So that would ask you now. So you've moved your life 3,000 miles east. We're a couple years down the road.
Yeah.
What's your impression now of Scituate and the East Coast? And great. You're probably really happy that you're brewing beer and you're one of the owners, and that's cool. But what do you like? How do you like living in Massachusetts now?
Yeah, it was some culture shock. I'll say that when I first moved out here. Some big differences. My move from Boulders, where I went to college, to Seattle, not a huge change. Pretty easy. Right. Finding my way in Seattle, a lot of similar things, and then coming out here was very different, and I thought the East Coast was densely populated, and I thought I knew what that meant, and I thought everything was like Boston, and you'd come down, I thought you just like never leave the city, and yet first place I lived, I couldn't see another house, and so it's like pretty different than I expected, and so once I was getting used to that, it's amazing here. The people are nicer than I expected. As time back to Scituate being loyal, Scituate being friendly. People are very friendly out here, and it's just a good little area. I love Four Seasons is something I missed in Seattle, and so having usually four seasons out here. Sometimes we skip spring, I feel like, but it's great. I remember the first time I shoveled snow, I was so excited because you don't shovel snow in Seattle; it just rains away, and so. It's a great place to be. It's different and exciting for me.
So you used the word friendly there a few times.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your tap room and stuff here. Family friendly?
Yes.
You guys are doing events with other businesses and stuff in the community. You got Sadie Mae's Cupcakes coming in here today.
Cupcakes coming today.
I hope to meet them.
Yeah.
It's a reason to stick around.
Cupcakes and beer, breakfast and championship.
Yeah, we did a Valentine's Day yoga class, a couples yoga on Valentine's Day a couple days ago in the schoolhouse. We usually do yoga once a month. We do Nintendo game night. Draws a good crowd in here. Play Mario Kart. And
That's cool.
Lots of fun games.
Yep.
And just always try to do something with food on the weekends. We don't actually prepare any food here, but there's so many great local food vendors, food trucks that will come set up shop on a Saturday, and it kind of draws in a good crowd. People who want to come and also eat something while they drink good beer.
Yeah, we're seeing that trend a lot too, where everybody's like sticking to their core competency, and the brewers are brewing the beer and they're going, we got space. They rotate the food trucks in, everybody wins, gets some higher profile. Now you guys, you're here on the South Shore, not far from Plymouth, Massachusetts, and everybody's heard of Plymouth, Pilgrims, all that stuff. So right now it's February when we're recording this, and there's summertime, tourist season, all that kind of stuff. You guys do anything special, any kind of events you hold in the summertime, things that people, because we're here to promote beer tourism. So what can we tell people all over the country about what they can expect to find if they come up to your part of Massachusetts, and why they ought to roll into Scituate and check out Untold Brewing?
Yeah, I mean, Scituate in the summertime is amazing. The beaches here are fantastic. The weather's great. The harbor is a very lively, energetic place. There's a big festival in August called Heritage Days in Scituate. It's huge, and we actually do a special beer called Heritage Haze, a hazy, juicy IPA that we do for that one, which was wildly popular last year. We probably should have made more, but we'll make more this year.
Now you know.
Exactly.
I know. 1 year under our belt makes a huge difference. So that's always a fun time to come. But I mean, Scituate, I feel like every weekend has some kind of community-oriented event happening.
So there you go, CNF Worldwide listeners and viewers. Very friendly town. Very good beers. Great local vibe. They're ready to welcome you. So this summer, when you're touring New England, come to Scituate, Massachusetts. Meet Matt and Kyle. Maybe Kristin will be here that time. And try their beers. Until next time, we're CNF Worldwide. Thanks for listening.
See ya. Thanks.
CNF Worldwide for nomads everywhere.
This broadcast was produced by CNF Limited for Nomads Everywhere. The contents of this broadcast are the property of CNF Limited. All rights are reserved. For more information about CNF publications, contact us at 305-707-4024. Find us on the web at cnfltd.com.